The first 5 minutes of this video are actually going to be very different compared to my typical setting of recording, and that is purely just because I got the divine inspiration to film this. I was receiving notes from the universe, from source, and I was like, I need to talk about this right now, because I was like, this is... So, yeah, just wait 5 minutes and then y'all get to see my beautiful face, okay? Okay. Thank you. Oh, hello, beautiful souls. Hello, children of the crop. I know that this is a much different setting than I think my typical connoisseur of videos is taking place at. However, I feel very divinely inspired to share something that I learned a while back that I feel like has really impacted and benefited my life more times than I can count. Like at least more than 30 times in the past year that I kind of came into this realization and accepted this knowledge. And that is understanding the purpose of using the divine feminine and masculine energies in our life. There's a lot of energy that genuinely just exists in this world. There is more androgynous energy, there is divine masculine, there's divine feminine, there is like, you know, people came up with this concept of the light feminine, the dark feminine, and all these other, you know, portrayed niche-y little topics of energy. The ones that I truthfully want to discuss that I think genuinely, when you really understand their core concepts and implement them into your daily life on a daily basis, or at least just having them in the back of your mind, can genuinely impact and save you from a rut, from a depressive cycle, from being lost and not knowing where your purpose is, from feeling like you don't have any more motivation and drive because you question why you're even doing what you're doing, and to honestly give you guidance on what you should do to be and feel like your happiest self and to become your most authentic, which is your highest self moving forward. So real quick, to start off the video, what is divine masculine and feminine energy? Divine masculine energy is the energy that, you know, most men typically are stereotyped as. But divine masculine and divine feminine energy has nothing to do with gender, is nothing to do with even sexuality. It has nothing to do with us as humans. They are simply energies that exist at all times and all parts of the day in regards to anything that exists, if that makes sense. So divine masculine energy typically involves more external focuses. It involves chasing after your goals. It involves being productive. It involves being disciplined. It involves having something that you are working towards. Typically, the divine masculine energy means progress. It means moving. It means doing and making something with your life in the external world. Now, knowing those core concepts, we can understand that a lot of the things that we choose to do in our life are related to more of a divine masculine. This means that, you know, when we choose to go to the gym, when we choose to work on a project for a couple hours, when we choose to go on a run, or we choose to eat healthier, or we choose to create a new goal and strive for it, or we choose to be disciplined, we are operating through our divine masculine energy. Now, we also have what is called our divine feminine energy. This is the energy that is more focused on internal preservation. This energy is focused on creativity, on relaxation, on receiving, on attracting, on kind of just embodying more of a higher vibration instead of going out into the external world and physically working for your desire. You internally attract that desire by matching the vibration of it. So you feel as if you already have it. You're living your life as if you feel like you have it mentally, and you are just doing whatever. You know, it's kind of like when you're in that present moment and nothing is really happening, but you just feel good. You know, you feel whole, you feel aligned, you just are happy with where you're at in the present moment. Divine masculine energy is all about working towards something. It is typically more involved with chasing. It is involved with action. Action is very important when it comes to any goal, because you can sit there in your room and affirm all damn day that you are a millionaire, but your subconscious mind is not going to actually believe it to be true if you have literally no plan of getting to creating a business that attracts you $1 million, or networking with people who have the knowledge to get you there, or doing anything in this world that makes you feel like your life is actually different from where it was a year ago, where you were sitting and rotting in your bed all day. The divine feminine is all about receiving. It is about attracting, it is about being, it is about operating at a higher frequency, and it is about tapping into that more sensual and creative energy that we all have within us. The thing that we experience on a daily basis, and typically when we feel most out of balance, most depressed, most out of order, would be when one of these divine energies is imbalanced, is unregulated. So, depending on your current era of your life, this current period in your life where you are doing certain things, feeling certain things, existing in a certain frequency, and just living your daily life and the mindsets that you have, you are typically operating in either more of a feminine energy or... So, my storage literally died, and now I'm on the verge of collapse. As I was saying, I truthfully have no freaking clue when this video ended, so we're just going to go off of the basis of what I was just talking about. Oh my god. Guys, I literally almost just threw up. I don't even know what just happened. I took a breath, I burped, I swallowed. I just lived 5 different lives in my own fucking throat. Oh, that's rancid. I'm gonna refilm this. Oh my god. I'm dying, actually. Guys, I'm literally dying. That's funny. We are just going to continue, but now y'all can actually see my beautiful face and have some half decent lighting. So if that makes you feel better, then yay, go you. So now we are going to be talking about the purpose of actually discussing divine feminine masculine energies in relation to us in our lives, and how this revolves around us being in a rut, us being in a depressive episode, us kind of feeling unaligned, not knowing where we're going in our life and what we want to do and what our purpose and what our goals are. This is why. When it comes to our divine energies, we can actually have unregulated and out of balance, and actually what is called wounded divine energy. When this energy is wounded, typically it means that we are not incorporating it intentionally enough into our life. It means that we have had some type of past trauma or some type of mindset and belief that has basically created this certain cycle of energy that has been perpetuating in our life. This correlates to our actions. This correlates to the way that we live as human beings in our lifestyle. This correlates to our attachments towards certain things, and this correlates to just who we believe we are as people. A lot of people have realized that their identity completely shifts once they actually start incorporating and healing their divine masculine and feminine energies. Now let's go into the wounded divine masculine energy. When someone has a wounded masculine energy, a lot of times it comes from perfectionism, needing to prove oneself, being basically told, that you are not valid, that you are not good enough, that you need to prove yourself, that, you need to suck it up, and that you need to just be better, and that you need to be rock hard, and you need to... Honestly, a lot of this typical stereotypes that are placed on the men, especially in the older traditional values. And this is why a lot of men typically fall under this more masculine stereotype within the divine energy, because this is the way that they were mostly treated growing up. So wounded masculine energy typically involves aggression, confrontation, criticism, anger, avoidance, unsupportive AF, very competitive, they're control freaks, they are all about dominance, they abuse their power, and they're very, very unstable. So if any of those traits typically feel like they might align with you a little bit more, you might have a wounded masculine energy. When it comes to the more natural masculine energy, as we kind of just talked about, this kind of will go into confidence, power, protection, stability, having direction, feeling aligned, being disciplined, having the ability to set good boundaries, being focused, and genuinely having and taking responsibility over your life and not dreading it. Not saying there, be like, I hate responsibility sucks, I'm gonna kill myself the minute that something comes into my contact and I have to decide. So now let's go into the wounded feminine energy. A lot of times we develop a wounded feminine energy for a lot of reasons. A lot of times we develop a more wounded emotional feminine energy because certain basic needs were not met in our life. When we are placed in environments where we are not allowed to express ourselves and we are not allowed to be vulnerable, we are not heard or seen, we are not allowed to express our emotions in a way that actually feels genuine and authentic to ourselves, and we are not nurtured, we can develop trauma associated to our more feminine aspects of expression, of creativity, of sensualism, of vulnerability. Also, a lot of abandonment issues typically come from a wounded feminine, or typically create a wounded feminine, if I say. As well, when it comes to a wounded masculine, one of the biggest things that actually can typically create this in someone's life is when typically someone's more healthy masculine traits, such as protection, leadership, guidance, structure, and focus are typically distorted, are typically imbalanced, or are typically abused. This creates more of a wounded masculine because the energy that we typically will then associate with more masculine traits is traumatizing, is abusive, is depressing, is something that reminds us of that exact moment in time, and we hate it. So going into more of the wounded feminine, a lot of traits of having a more wounded feminine energy in our life is being a victim, being overly needy, feeling powerless, being very codependent, feeling like you overall embody an energy of weakness, being extremely sensitive, typically resorting to manipulation to getting what you desire, being overly emotional, and genuinely withholding a lot of your expression and inner desires. It also could result in trouble in the bed, if you know what I mean, and overall just kind of feeling a disconnection from you and your own body. Now, the more natural feminine, when we have this more regulated and we are feeling more better about ourselves in the feminine energy, typically revolves around unconditional love, genuine understanding and empathy, being able to be in stillness and genuinely flow and genuinely enjoy it, and not feel like you are going against the grain, not feeling like you are undeserving of that rest. It also means genuinely just radiating. It means surrendering to the life around you. It means letting go of the negative aspects in your life. It means embodying your authenticity, stepping into your more creative and expressive energy, and allowing yourself to actually sit there and decide, where do you want to go with your life? What do you want to do in your life? And genuinely follow that path. It also means that you are allowing things to happen. It means that when an emotion rises, you are not running from it, you are not avoiding it, and you are also not overindulging in it. You are not sitting there and crying for weeks on end when you only need to really cry for maybe a couple of days. Adele should have stayed in the album for that 2-day period, and then she should have been gone. Now, a lot of times when we have more of a wounded masculine or wounded feminine energy in our life, it also typically might depend on the era in our life that we are at. For me personally, when I had more of a wounded masculine energy, I was in my hustle era. Like, I was physically going insane. I was at the point where if I was not doing something quote unquote productive at every moment of every single day, I would literally think that I was unworthy. I would think that I'm wasting my life. I would think that I am not good enough. I would think that I am not living up to the standard that I set of myself. And it basically stemmed from me feeling like I needed to produce value externally at every moment of every single day in order to show my worth, in order to feel like I was actually good enough for love, for authenticity, for being chosen, for feeling worthy of literally just the basic human desires and wants and needs. Now, when I was younger, I actually had much more of a wounded feminine energy. I genuinely often felt like the victim. I was very sensitive and I cried probably almost every single day. I was very manipulative. There was a lot of drama in my life, especially in school. And I just remember this overall feeling of powerlessness. Like, no matter what I did, nothing would change. Nothing would get better. I felt like the people that had what I wanted, they were lucky. I felt extremely jealous of anyone who had something that I desired, whether it was, my dream body, whether it was money, whether it was just overall pretty privilege, like literally anything that I looked at and I was just like, wow, like that looks like something I want. I would literally be so mad that I didn't have it. And I was like, kill yourself. So coming from someone who has experienced both wounded feminine and wounded masculine in my past, learning to heal it has just become a natural part of my life at this point, because it's something that I had to incorporate in order to get out of both of those stages. This is also why I think that studying and learning and therefore implementing divine feminine and divine masculine traits and energies into our life is so important, because coming from someone who was stuck in their divine feminine for so long and was depressed and was overweight and had zero touch with my body, felt like a victim every single day of my life, and genuinely was so depressed that they literally would write in their journal about you know what, versus being someone that literally could not rest, could not sit there and not have to do something, who would have anxiety when the thought of, should I actually be working on this? Should I be writing my project? I literally would go to my 8-hour job, and in the moments of free time that I have, I would sit there and choose to work on a project that I decided that I wanted to do that was aligned with who I want to be. And I would literally, on my own 30-minute break, after hustling my freaking ass off, doing like stocking and laundry and all this other random, sit there and work on my projects and work on typing and work on my little laptop and decide, okay, yeah, this is a good moment of free time to do this. And if I decide that I didn't want to do that, if I decide that I wanted to take that break and I want to watch a show and I want to eat junk food, or I wanted to do something that went against the grain in my head, I literally am not joking with you guys that I would deem that as a horrible day. I would deem that as a day not worthy of my time, as a day that I clearly wasn't learning my lessons because I was not doing good enough, and a day that, you know, we should have just erased off of the little calendar that's in the back of my room right over there. So healing divine feminine and divine masculine energies has become a very important concept in my life. It has genuinely become the thing where when I'm in a rut, when I do not feel like myself, and when I feel like my life is literally crumbling and in shambles all around me, I focus on the divine feminine and masculine. I question myself. And this is step one of fixing your divine energies, okay? What era of my life do I feel like I am in right now? Am I tapping into more of a feminine energy, or am I tapping into more of a masculine energy? Because when you are tapping more into your feminine energy, you will notice that you are feeling maybe a little bit more lazy, maybe a little bit more emotional, maybe a little bit more sensitive, maybe you're reminiscing more on the past, you're more nostalgic, but maybe in a way that like doesn't serve you. When you are focused more on your masculine energy, you will notice that you are a little bit more hyper-focused, you are a little bit more in your work era, you are a little bit more hustling, you are a little bit more disconnected from your relationships and your actual authentic desires. You are actually just sitting there producing, chasing, action, and that's it. So figuring out which of these two eras that you feel like you might be more in, or that you have maybe been stuck in and in a repetitive cycle in, can actually be very beneficial, because I personally believe that healing is just awareness. When we have the awareness of what is wrong, why something is the way it is, and what we can do to fix it, we start taking steps to getting there, regardless. Because if you knew exactly what you needed to do to feel better, and you had this very easy streamlined path ahead of you of just like, yeah, like just A plus B equals C, you would do it. And I'm not talking about, oh, you need to eat less calories to get the body you want, so, you know, sit there and eat less calories and like A plus B equals C. No, because there's so many other things that go into that than just, oh, eat less, because it's not even eating less. So shut the fuck up. A lot of times when it comes to healing divine feminine and masculine energies, it is about just trying to reach more of a balance. You can always kind of step a little bit more into one or the other depending on you. If you want to step in more into your creative expression energy, more of that introspection, reflection of like, where are we going in our life? What are we doing? Or that more masculine energy of like, all right, let's be disciplined. Let's go work out. Let's eat healthier. Let's take some action. Let's build that business. Let's create the dreams. Exactly. So when it comes to actually healing this energy, after we have had that awareness of, you know, where are we kind of lacking at? Like, where are we feeling a little bit like off-centered in? Where are we feeling out of balance, a little bit unregulated, like in our divine feminine or divine masculine? We need to therefore start to reconnect with that energy. It's not about blasting the one that you're unregulated with. It is about healing the opposite one. If you are struggling with your divine masculine energy, and this means that you are unconnected with your emotions, you are in your hustling era, you are going crazy, you are taking action, you are all about work, and you are not actually sitting there and relaxing and getting in touch with your feminine energy and being creative and expressing and reflecting and, you know, kind of connecting to your body, mind, and soul, you're gonna be depressed, first off. But so healing it is actually typically found in the opposite one. Because if you start doing more of the healthy divine masculine traits, you're still going to have those underlying symptoms of the unregulated version, because you're still just focusing on the divine masculine. So when it comes to healing your divine feminine energy, this is all about feeling and reconnecting. So you need to focus on starting to feel your life and accept it in this present moment, without the constant need to fix it, without the need to make it better, without the need to sit there and be like, oh my God, well, like, how are we going to improve this? How are we going to, like, what's the solution here? Like, no, genuinely vent, genuinely feel out this crappy emotion and sit with it and be like, this sucks, and that's okay. Another way of reconnecting with your feminine energy is actually to just start tapping into more of your creative expression. Literally sit there and paint, sit there and draw, sit there and write, sit there and do something that makes you feel like you. That makes you feel like you are aligned. That makes you feel like you are adding something into this world. That makes you feel like you are, you know, being all cutesy in your little corner in your little sketchbook. Also connecting to nature. Sitting there and connecting to the world that we live in and really feeling the dirt on your feet. Feeling the leaves and the wind brush against you. Feeling the sun beating against your skin. Connecting to nature is one of the most important things that I think we can do when it comes to our feminine energy, because it reminds us of our humanity. It reminds us of being alive. It reminds us that we are simple creatures living on this planet. It is not meant to be this crazy complex code of computer science that every single moment of every single decision, of every single action, of every single thought that we have in our life has to be sit there and analyzed, perfected in order to actually be good in society's terms. No, like, we are simple animals. We are evolved versions of a damn ape from like 40 million years ago. So sit there and act like it. Touch the damn grass. Lastly, if you guys really want to jumpstart your feminine healing energy, start doing inner child work. Start sitting there and questioning and going back in time to the moments that you remember as being most traumatic. And imagine yourself now hugging that version of yourself. sitting there and unconditionally loving them, telling them that it will get better, telling them that their life will improve, that this situation is not permanent, that you will get to where you want to be. Speak gently about the parts of yourself that sometimes you might start to shit talk, that sometimes you judge, that sometimes that version of you didn't know better at the time, but now you know better, and so you choose to judge that version of yourself. Sit there and stop that. Sit there and talk about them with compassion, with forgiveness, with understanding. A lot of times it's just feeling worthy. It's about receiving, it's about attracting, it's about embodying that softness. Now, when it comes to healing the divine masculine, it is actually kind of the complete opposite. So a lot of times when it comes to healing the divine masculine, we need to start building some type of daily structure. We need to have a little system in our life, a little order in the chaos, if you will. Start kind of building a rhythm. Figure out, like what schedule you kind of like, and then start waking up early, setting a consistent alarm, trying to be more consistent in your day-to-day life. A lot of people have a lot of very unregulated divine feminine energies, and it's because there's no system. It's because there's no routine in their life. They literally sit there and they wake up at 1 p.m. in the damn afternoon and then go to bed at like 4 a.m. And then they're like, oh my God, I don't know why I have so many things wrong with me emotionally and physically, internally. But yet this is totally fine. This is normal because half of society does it in my generation. So let's also do it. No. Get a damn routine. Wake up when the sun fucking wakes up. Stop sitting there and being like, this is fine, guys. This is normal. I mean, do it if you damn want. Do it if it makes you happy. But if you then question why your divine feminine energy is unregulated, take a long look in the mirror, babe. Long look in the mirror. Because the answer is stay on you. A lot of things as well with healing the divine masculine energy is sitting in your stillness. Literally, I watched this guy who has very much healed his divine masculine energy, and he was very inspirational in ways of using divine masculine to kind of up-level your life and like make progress and whatever. And literally one of his biggest tips was to sit there and stare at a blank wall. Literally look at a wall with no stimulation, no notifications going off on your phone, no images, no music, no books, no nothing. Sit there for 30 minutes staring at a wall. Your purpose will become elevated. You will start to feel like you are realizing what you are actually drawn to, what are addictions, what are instant dopamine hits, what are delayed gratification, what is instant gratification. And genuinely sitting in that stillness will allow you to heal this feeling and need to constantly be doing things, to constantly be making progress. Because you will realize that making progress does not just stem from the physical external world. Rest is progress. Reflection is progress. Introspection is progress. Sitting there and just enjoying life is progress. It is that feeling of just being enough in this exact moment. Is accepting your body for what it is right now, knowing that if you want to improve, you can. But you're not improving out of this desperation because you need to be this better version of yourself, or else, you feel like you're ugly and you feel like you're undeserving of love and you feel like you're unworthy. It's doing it because it's what fulfills you. It's doing it because it makes you feel better. It's doing it because it's what you feel called to. Another thing as well is learning how to say no and building some damn boundaries in your life. I think a lot of people fall into this trap where they feel so attached to certain things, so committed to certain areas in their life, whether it's a workplace, whether it's a person, whether it is a certain goal in their mind, that they feel like saying no is literally like a sin. They feel like saying no is literally like they are like shoving a knife into someone and be like, no, let me just twist that. No, it's not. Saying no is not selfish. Saying no is actually putting yourself first, but it's not putting yourself first above other people. You saying no is not you sitting there being like, I don't care about you. I don't care about your wants. I don't care about your needs. I don't care about your life. I'm choosing me. Saying no is none of that. Saying no has nothing to do with the other person. Saying no has everything to do with you. It is how you feel, where you want to go, and what you want to experience. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person that you are going to live with for the rest of this life. And you are going to regret saying yes every single time. If you do not want to do something and you tell yourself, yeah, I'll go. We'll go there. Why not? Let's do it. You are going to dread going. You're going to literally wake up that day that you decide to schedule that plan and be like, oh, God damn it. Be like, I have to go do that because I said yes. You are going to go and you might have a good time or you might have a horrible time. You're going to get back to the house and guess what? You are going to even feel worse. You are going to have degraded your own self-worth because you disrespected yourself by saying yes. You broke your own trust to your own self-worth by saying yes that you will go. Because you sat there and were like, oh, it's fine. Doesn't matter. I'll do it. Whatever. And that literally destroys your ability to say no moving forward. Because now you are known as the person where energetically, even if you don't want to do something, you'll still do it. You'll still go to the job. You'll still work. You'll still hang out with that person. You'll still live that life. Even though you knew that your soul was not aligned with it. pathetic. No, I'm kidding. A lot of things as well when it comes to your divine masculine energy is actually sticking and committing to your goals and trying to build some type of discipline. Now, I think a lot of times, this is something that I really learned that really jump-shotted like my self-concept and identity work when it comes to this. And it is basically, instead of trying to view life as like, oh, I'm trying to build this habit, I'm trying to be consistent, I'm trying to do this every single day, I'm trying to go to the gym 5 days a week. Stop. Literally stop. Because if you have not been doing that for your entire life, you sitting there being like, oh my God, I'm gonna take this massive leap into like starting to work out every single day of my life when you have never even stepped inside the gym is unrealistic and it's not gonna happen. And first off, it is not about sitting here being like, okay, how do I do this? Like, how do I like do this every day? No, it's not sitting there questioning that externally. It's not sitting there questioning like, what routine should I do? Like, what time should I go every day? What's my schedule gonna look like? No, it's really not. That stuff is important, of course it is, but no. We're gonna step more into this divine feminine energy for a second here. Shift your identity and this goal will come along with you. The routine will come along with you. If you believe yourself to be the person who goes to the gym 5 days a week, who loves working out, who's always working out, who's always working on their dream body, you will do it. You will do it more often. You will live that life more often because you believe and know yourself to be that person. Simply that easy. If you guys want more videos on shifting your identity, search up self-concept work. I have a couple videos on my channel. Search up, just identity shifting and just the law of assumption in general and believing yourself to be certain things and living in the end. Okay, because that's a whole other concept. Start making progress on your goals, sticking with them, being disciplined, living your life as that person and sticking with that identity. Because a lot of the times I think having a unregulated divine masculine energy leads to laziness, leads to us being groggy and not actually doing anything and making any progress in our life. And I think that that's not where a lot of us want to be at, because I think making progress gives purpose a lot of the time. And not even that, but making progress gives you a sense of accomplishment. It gives you a sense of drive. It gives you some type of external motivation and purpose. And I think for a lot of people that have never made progress in areas of their life and who almost don't even feel like it's possible, stepping into that divine masculine energy really gives them that feeling that they have control over their life, that they are the deciding factor, and that they are actually the creator of their reality. Because so many people play this victim mentality of like, oh my God, you have to be lucky as hell, or you have to do this, or you have to already have that. And they sit there and they block themselves off from even allowing this energy of creation, of possibility, of deciding and taking responsibility and creating that reality away from themselves. And they literally just sit there and are like, I'm incapable. It's not possible. I wasn't chosen. It's not my destiny or fate. And that's not true, because that's depressing as hell. And you don't want to live that life. Because no matter what, that is playing the victim, and you are going to be living that life, having that mentality for 5 to 10 years down the road. And when 5 to 10 years down the road passes and you are in a neighborhood where all these other people have realized that that mentality was holding them back and that was stopping them from taking the opportunities to getting to where they want to be in their life, and you are still there in the dirt and your friends have all gone, they're not going to look back at you and be like, oh my God, look at Jessica in the corner. No. They're going to look back at you and pity you. They're going to look back at you and be like, that's sad. That's really depressing that they stood there and they did nothing with their life. And they sat there and complained about the system and about life and about the injustices in the world. Because baby, complaining is not fixing it. If you really want to fix it, study law, go into the government. I'm like, do something with your life, I guess. Oh, we don't need to talk about that, guys, because we're going to attract a lot of haters. But anyways, guys, I hope that this video really helped you guys. I feel like for me personally, divine masculine and divine feminine is such an important concept in life. It is something that literally impacts every single person, regardless of gender, regardless of sexuality, as I said. It is genuinely just something that is literally happening at every moment of every day. And it's a conscious choice that we get to make. So having this awareness of kind of what era that you're in and kind of what else to do, what other energy that you should step in, I think is really important, and I think can really help you guys and benefit your life. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed this one. I genuinely loved making this one. Let me know if you also kind of like this new setup. I'm kind of digging this lighting and like the camera angle and everything. It's a little cute. Better than me sitting on my bed right after my shower being like, hi guys, how are you doing? Yeah, anyways, I hope that you guys had a great day and an even better life, and I hope that you found this video educational. If you did not, I at least hope you found it entertaining, and I will see y'all in the next one. TBH, for real, be for real. All right, guys, have a great one. Have a beautiful life. Have everything. Oh my God, this video is so long. Holy cow. Oh my God. Okay, have a good one.